I was reading online that in 2010, you won the Dame Whina Cooper Trophy, which was a national speech competition.
Yeah.
Have you continued this kind of thing into your pre-game speeches? Are you that well prepared? You take it on very seriously?
I guess anyone who's done like speech competitions teaches you a lot of life skills. For me, the one that I kind of have continued to carry through is speaking in front of like large audiences or speaking in front of cameras as well. That's like, it's different. That competition that I was a part of in that year and throughout all my college years is a really, really famous Māori speech competition called Ngā Manu Kōrero. That started as a way to encourage more young Māori to speak English.
All right.
Yeah, that's actually how the competition started. And as the competition has evolved, there's also a Māori part, so that was the part that I competed in. So throughout all my college years, I competed in the junior Māori and the senior Māori speeches, where you had a prepared speech that you got up and you spoke about. And then there was also an impromptu speech. So you got 5 minutes to prepare a 3-minute speech.
Wow.
Yeah.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. So it teaches you lots of things to think on the spot, how to, appeal to your audience, most who are Māori. Yeah, I honestly think though that if I didn't do Ngā Manu Kōrero throughout high school, I probably wouldn't have the confidence that I have when I speak in front of cameras before games or audiences and things like that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I really think it's a long time ago.
It's obviously served you well. So you would get something thrown at you, like a topic or something, and then you just build that topic.
Yeah, so you get put in a room, there's 3 topics, you choose one of your topics, someone will come in and say, you got 1 minute left, then you go onto the stage and you have to speak for a minimum of 2 minutes. And if you don't speak for that, well, everyone just waits for the bell really, but yeah. And in each region throughout the country, the winner is selected to then go to the national. So it's no use coming second or third. You have to come first to then go to the national. So yeah, it's a very prestigious competition.
So bring that into rugby and, obviously you will have meetings with as senior leadership groups or with coaches, and then it's your job to convey that to a team. Is that something that has come quite easily to you because of that?
Like some of the skills that I did learn throughout that competition have helped me, but for me and being around professional rugby environments, like you're really fortunate, the people that you get to mix with, the coaches and the specialist coaches that come in to help you develop as a person, as a leader and as a player. A lot of the skills that I learned within those environments at the Blues and at the Black Ferns especially, I've been able to carry those skills and enhance my leadership and even, it's crazy to think now, right? But use those skills and even share them with my family. Even real simple things like goal setting, that we do all the time as athletes, and you think everyone does it. Yeah. That's not really the case. Working through conflict happens all the time, right, around selection. So just a normal part of your week, and how to navigate that. Using those skills from those moments in our test weeks or whatever, and taking them back and sharing them with my family and my friends so that they can understand how to navigate those types of situations and then move forward. I didn't really realize up until very recently how fortunate I was in being around people that have honed those skills and myself being able to learn them until now that I'm a bit older. So
thinking on a fly though, as a captain, that must be a skill that, because you've learned it over time, has made you a very successful captain in the sense of dealing with referees. You can have as many game plans as you like, but they never seem to come to fruition. So that ability to think on the fly and be able to communicate in a calm manner must have held you in good stead.
I think so, yeah. I also think like with my position being a game driver, right, you need to be like a people person. You need to be able to listen, make sure people are heard, but also communicate in a calm way, like you said, in a way that everyone can understand, not just your team, but referees as well. And fortunately, especially in the Black Ferns, I've got Kennedy, we're co-captains, and so we get to bounce off each other. Sometimes we do a bit of a good cop, bad cop thing, all refs are different, hey? You just never know what you're going to get, especially with female refs. Yeah, so.
Who's the bad cop?
Just depends on the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Game by game, we take it, ref by ref.
You don't want to burn yourself with every ref. If you'll need to swing it around.
Yeah.
Is leadership a thing that you work on the same way that you work on your kicking, in the same way that you work on your tackling and those kind of things? You put time aside to work on that?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for myself as I move from like a blues season into a black fern season into a NPC season, like you're always around people with different abilities and different IQs, different leaders as well. And the type of leader that I am, I think I've changed over time because I've been surrounded by people with different skills. I remember the first time I was in the Black Ferns leadership group was Ruby's first year, and Ruby got us to go around and she got us to talk about what our leadership strengths were and what our growth areas were. And I don't know, for myself in that moment, I hadn't actually been in a leadership group. We would kind of address that right at the beginning. So we knew how to collaborate and how to work and draw on different people's strengths. And I actually said it to Ruby the other day. I remember that moment because my growth area was her strength area, which was like managing conflict, navigating, those difficult conversations, especially with teammates who are also like are really good friends, right? So being able to separate that and have those conversations with them. This was like 4 years ago, and I said to her, it's crazy now because that's not really something that I struggle with anymore. But at the time, it was something that gave me anxiety. Like I did not look forward to those conversations, and no one ever does. But being able to see how different teammates, different leaders navigate different areas and drawing on that and kind of molding it to myself and continuing to grow and evolve as a leader, that's probably the one that I've done the most because it's been my hugest growth area.
The thing when you look at leadership groups as a whole, though, what makes a good leader is the vulnerability to say, I'm not great at this, but also that drive or that, I suppose, willingness to learn and grow, isn't it? Because it almost provides space for the team you're trying to lead to step in to say, you don't have to be perfect.
A massive strength that I've learned in the last couple of years is the power of silence and listening, which really allows other teammates that opportunity to have the courage in those moments to say something or reflect on something. If you just kind of keep talking as a leader, whether it's on the field or off the field, you don't really allow space for others to grow. And because we don't know everything.
That was my work on to just shut up, please. Can other people sort of present into it? But, like when you think about it as a captain, awkward silence almost feels like you're not doing your job, so you'd fill it, but actually doing your job is letting someone else, be vulnerable and come up with that idea or option.
Yeah, so that's kind of finishing up with a question and leaving it to the floor, kind of. That's how that scenario works. Yeah.
Don't look at me.
You just shut up and sit back.
I think it just depends at the moment. Like for myself, a lot of those, like, you're in a huddle on the field. Mine are mostly on-field ones because of my position. And whenever we finish up, I always want to say something, but I think, because someone else is probably thinking, or someone else might say it, and so like usually coaches always say, does anyone have anything to say? And I just stand there in silence and just wait. And usually, eventually, someone perks up, and they're usually on the money, or they'll have a question because they're not clear, right?
Yeah. Let's talk some rugby. As well. One of the things about watching you in the last year or so certainly is you spent a fair bit of time at 10, a fair bit of time at 12. You've got Kristen Cottrell and Hannah King who've played in different teams in that role, and you've jumped in and out. I'm really keen to hear about how much differently you have to play when you're moving out a spot.
It kind of depends on what the game plan is. So at the Blues, when I play 12 outside Duffy, our attack coach is Carlos. Carlos is like attack game plan. Is definitely different to the attacking game plan that we have in the Black Ferns, especially with my role as a 12. He's pretty keen for us to stay within a certain structure that offers a lot of options. I don't really find myself at first receiver often. The way that we attack tends to be quite narrow and then space opens up on edges. So I'm still in kind of like a distributing role. I do find myself, when I play 12 as opposed to 10, being in a lot more rucks, doing a lot more cleaning, which I don't mind. And probably not kicking as much, just because their option's not usually that space usually isn't there. What I do enjoy about playing 12 with both teams and outside both Hannah and Duffy is I have more time to see space and have more time to communicate those solutions through. And I know for myself, when I play 10, it makes a big difference when I have a midfield that are constantly communicating where space or what options are opening up for me. And I think because I'm able to play both 10 and 12, and when I'm at 10, I know what I want from my midfielders. And so I try to do that when I'm in the midfield, or when I'm at playing 12, I know what I want from my 10. And so I'm able to get, kind of use my ability of playing both positions to be a bit different.
Yeah.
Do you feel the fact that you've been World Player of the Year, naturally teams, when they're doing their prep, they see you as a threat, probably the major threat. And when you're at 12, it does look like, and it may be through your communication or the fact that teams are rushing your area, that both Chris and Hannah have got their nice running game, and it's actually creating space for them to shine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Is that communicated, or are they just seeing that space because they seem to always rush and put pressure on you, which means you can't get to the outside, but then they get those little
insights? That's right. I think that they have that natural strength within their own game. And I also think the way that a lot of teams are defending now, they're tending to put a lot more line speed pressure on, like across the men's and women's game. So it's I think it's a bit of a trend at the moment, which is opening up those inside channels,
Also, you've got some amazing wingers outside you at the moment. Like, you got some, even at the Blues, like you got two amazing wingers out at Blackburns. Getting that ball into space must be so much fun for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And those girls, like when we train, they're bloody fast. Not only are they fast, they're strong as well. And so to get a massive bend in the line, even if they're not scoring, and then for us to be able to play on top, that's easy footy.
Got Laurie O'Reilly and a World Cup. So there's a couple of big things to tick off this year. Yeah, when you look at, I suppose, 2024, what are the areas that you guys want to work on the most in order to maintain the Laurie O'Reilly, but then go into that World Cup with all the confidence you need to have a solid crack in it?
Yeah, I think there's a few areas that we need to tidy up. First and foremost is our consistency, like you think of the All Blacks when the All Blacks were really in their prime and you couldn't give them a sniff because they'd put you away.
Yeah.
At the moment, with our team, we create all these opportunities and we never finish them. We're just so inconsistent. And it's crazy for me to say because I know that in the past our team has been an attacking team, but I think our attack is the biggest area of growth for those of us who were involved in the last World Cup. Fortunately, there's so much that can happen in a really small amount of time. That Pac 4 series, the Laurie O'Reilly series, before moving into that World Cup will be really important stepping stones for us to kind of gather momentum before we go into that tournament.
It's interesting you say that because if you do look at the last World Cup, one of the biggest strengths was your patience, to the point that sometimes you would even pick and go from your own 22 to get the pitches you want to then attack.
Yeah.
And then I suppose if you look at now, you're probably creating more opportunities. Is it just that patience and that ability to just take one more ruck to manipulate the defence to a point that you're not under pressure to shovel that last pass?
Yeah, I think it's a few things, and I do definitely think that that's one of them. I think one of the challenges that we have is we don't get a lot of game time, and so for the girls to understand solutions to pictures, right, because that's all you're doing is you're creating pictures and shaping defences, we probably don't get enough time in the saddle to really understand that picking and going narrow is a defence, or, this type of clean does this to the defence or creates this seam. And I know a massive area that our coaches were helping us with last year was slowing down to then speed back up. At the moment, we're trying to play fast and on top all the time.
Do you think as well, just on that point, there's that patient aspect, but also using Ruby as an example, at their last World Cup, all her work off the ball actually created opportunity for others, and it bought people time to get that pass away. And if that can be brought back in, that to me is a massive strength, because defenders will see that threat and focus on it, similar to yourself with the Blues, and it creates that time and space you're looking for.
Yeah, with the changes that we're having in our coaching staff and our attacking game plan, I do think that the skills that will be taught to the girls, and hopefully they'll be shown out on the field, will be able to help us enhance shaping defences a lot easier and decluttering people's minds so that there's less to think about and you're just worried about turning that one defender in that moment or, things like that.
We talk about clutter a lot, even throughout the All Blacks season with new coaches in those first few weeks. Like, it is actually a lot harder than you think to just clear your head of all the information that's going on and go, okay, see the space. Don't overcomplicate it. Where's the space? Let's get the ball there.
Yes. I don't have anything to add there. Hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's an exciting year going into defend a World Cup title.
While it is really exciting, it still feels like there's still a lot of time left before, we get to that stage. We've still got our tests here at home with Pac 4 and Laurie O'Reilly before we kind of get to that stage. And so for me, what I think I'm looking forward to the most before getting to that stage is how our team can grow before we get there.
I promise you a final question, and the final question is World Cup coming up. The selectors come to you, believe it or not, and then ask you to make selections. The current player, a former player, and a coach that you want to take on the ride with you. Who would you take with you?
Current player would be Sylvia Brunt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Footwork. She's got a good little kicking game, especially like short kicks. Speed and physicality, both sides of the ball. So I'd take Sylvia. My current past player, I'd take Kenji Coxedge. She's got a good pass, man, Yeah, and she was at the top of her game for so long, right up until when she finished playing. Like all good halfbacks say, sometimes they're real hard to control. And sometimes they don't listen. And I think that's when she was at her best because she saw things that others didn't see.
Yeah.
And she knew how to control the pack. So I'd take her as my past player and my coach. I said I wasn't going to say him, but I can't think of anyone else. I would take Smithy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything that was spoken about around shaping defences, he had high standards. If you didn't do something, he'd let you know. Or he'd ask you why you were doing something. He was real big on players coaching players, especially if they were naturally good at a certain area of the game. And he was fun, there was time to work hard and then there was time to just relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is you got to enjoy the journey when you're in these teams.
Oh,
yeah.
It looks great in a pair of sunglasses too. Those sunglasses.
Yeah, on a Sunday morning, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Ruahei. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful season ahead.
Thank you so much.